Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Thursday. It is May 5th, 2022, and welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. We have continuing coverage of the draft that was leaked from the Supreme Court, indicating their intention on repealing or overturning, rather, Roe versus Wade. We will be joined by our partners at act.tv, who will be joining us directly from the Supreme Court. Jocelyn Macurdy Keatts will be joining us momentarily, and we'll be speaking with her and the rest of the team about what's going on, particularly about the conversation now as it pertains to the many justices who lied under oath when they testified in their Senate confirmation hearings, from Clarence Thomas all the way to Amy Coney Barrett. We have a long litany of conservative justices who, without question, lied in their testimony before the Senate. And we have the evidence now, by virtue of their arguments, that they had no intention of ever holding true to what they testified before Congress, which was, or before the Senate, rather, which was that Roe was a settled decision. Every conservative justice that voted or that is going to strike down Roe versus Wade made it clear that when they were confirmed that they would stand by that decision, which constitutes perjury. We'll be discussing that in many different angles. Georgia Ford will be joining us during On the Clock. Rebecca Azor and DJ Exclusive. The whole family is here, with the exception of Dr. Carl Mack, who is out for the entire month as he diligently prepares Black Heritage Days 5 and 6, the Black Women's History, 366 days of Black Women's History, along with 366 days of Black sports history. He is doing the diligent work there. He has left us, as always, with a moment in Black history. So, hey, Google, what happened today in Black history?
On May 5, 1961, in a mission known as Mercury Redstone 3, astronaut Alan Shepard became the first American launched into space. The trajectory for the mission was calculated by a hidden figure known as Creola Katherine Johnson. She would later calculate the launch window for Shepard's 1961 Mercury mission and the 1969 Apollo 11 mission, which landed the first human on the moon. Katherine retired from NASA in 1986, and on November 24, 2015, President Obama presented her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Adapted from Black Heritage Day calendar by author, lecturer and civil rights activist Dr. Carl Mack.
And again, you can get a copy of this calendar that we go through every single day by going to blackheritagedays.com. This is reading directly from Black Heritage Days 4. And Dr. Mack is working on 5 and 6. We want to ground everything that we do in history, because if we turn away from history, then we may forget the promises that were made by politicians, elected officials, and justices when they testified before the Supreme Court. Joining us now is Jocelyn Macurdy Keatts. She is the DC correspondent for act.tv. She's joining us now live outside of the Supreme Court. Good morning to you, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for being on the ground. I understand you tried to get there yesterday, but there are so many people there. Tell us about the environment and what's going on the ground.
Well, good morning, Ben. I wish it were better to be here. You were actually the first person that alerted me to what was going on. I received that text. I was like, he's kidding, right? This is a joke. This is a No, it's all very real. As you can see, the Supreme Court behind us is becoming progressively more blocked off. We've been covering protests on the ground here for years. I have never seen anything like this.
You know, there are protests all over the country. Because, you know, I'm not sure. I don't want to get too much into the political conversation about it, because some people seem to be surprised by this, while a lot of us are not surprised by this. We saw this coming. But setting the political debate and argument aside, what is happening now in terms of Justice Roberts? There's an investigation that's going on into the draft that was leaked, because this in and of itself is unprecedented. We've never had a decision leaked beforehand. What is the word on the ground as it pertains to that?
Well, and that's that's a thing. I mean, this is proof for a lot of people, even conservatives, that the Supreme Court has become radically politicized, which is the whole thing. That's its whole thing. That it's nonpartisan, it's neutral, it's this higher transcendent legal body that can sit in objective truth, and that we're seeing the exact opposite. It's like you were saying, Ben, in your intro, people that stood before Congress and said, of course we would never act against the law of the people, of course we would never strike down a codified right that people have enjoyed since 1973, are in fact doing that right now before our eyes. And it was leaked to the people through Politico, and now the entire body is being investigated, as it should be, because it's tempting to think that this was a progressive warrior who just like really wanted to let the people know, but it's just as likely the opposite. Somebody conservative who wanted to make sure these justices were on record as being anti-Roe, anti-women, so they couldn't back down from their positions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because these positions that they're holding now are completely contrary. The most recent, Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, there are just a litany of conservatives on that bench right now who have gone against what they said. I want to play a clip here of Joe Biden as he responded a full-throated response. Let's take a listen to the president on news of this draft opinion from the Supreme Court.
Do you think that this week has irreparably changed the court? We've never seen this happen before.
Well, if this decision holds, it's really quite a radical decision. Then again, I've not had a chance to thoroughly go into the report, but it basically says all the decisions relating to your private life, who you marry, whether or not you decide to conceive a child or not, whether or not you can have an abortion, a range of other decisions, whether or not how you raise your child. What does this do? And does this mean that in Florida they can decide they're going to pass a law saying that same-sex marriage is not permissible? It's against the law in Florida? So there's it's a fundamental shift in American jurisprudence.
Jocelyn, it is a fundamental shift. Let's get to the implications here, because there seem to be some people who don't think that this is a major issue because perhaps maybe they're a man and they don't feel like an abortion is a major issue for them. But this goes beyond abortions.
Well, it absolutely does, Ben. And the only time the Supreme Court has overturned precedents in the past, it was to expand personal liberty, to get rid of segregation, to protect people's ability to pursue a progressive future. This is the first time in history that the Supreme Court has struck down a precedent to roll back the people's ability to have control over their own destinies. And that should terrify you no matter what your gender is. Will and I were here speaking with people at the court yesterday, and I was having this conversation with so many people. It doesn't matter whether you have a uterus or not. You should be really concerned that the highest body in the land is telling you what medical decisions you can and can't make with your body.
And this amid the backdrop, obviously, of the January 6ers who protested, the anti-vaxxers, this entire movement, this entire cabal of people who insist that they want autonomy over their body, with the exception of a woman's right to choose. As you said, you talk to people on the ground. Where are we going in terms of the energy? Because there are protests all over the country. We have footage coming out of Minneapolis. Does it feel like there is enough visceral reaction to this for the people to galvanize and actually show up?
Oh, absolutely. I've been happy is the wrong word when you're talking about an issue like this, but it's been very heartwarming to see the massive numbers of people turning out and the organizations that are getting their cards together and organizing for actions over the coming months, because the decision will likely be in June. And people are not going to accept this quietly. We're talking to mothers who have taken in a good way for granted the right to have control over their bodies, and now have daughters who may enjoy less opportunity than they did. This is unprecedented. It's a backlash against women gaining in education and political and financial power, and it's a massive one. And it's something that even if you aren't a woman, you want to live in a country where women have equal power, because we've seen what happens when privileged white men make all of the decisions. It is leading us literally into climate existential peril. We need everybody at the table, and when women are having babies at 21, that's not something they can do. This reproductive justice has created a more equal future for all of us, whether or not you want an abortion or have had an abortion. The fact that women can delay mothering till a time that's right for them, the fact that that has become a socially normal phenomenon, has created a world that is more equal for everybody.
Absolutely. This next clip is Vice President Kamala Harris as she gives a full-throated repudiation of this draft decision. Let's take a listen in.
Women would lose access to abortion immediately and outright. Those Republican leaders who are trying to weaponize the use of the law against women, well, we say, how dare they? How dare they tell a woman what she can do and cannot do with her own body? How dare they? How dare they try to stop her from determining her own future? How dare they try to deny women their rights and their freedoms?
Jocelyn, thank you for being there. We were cut off in the conversation as it pertains to the Democratic Party, and are they ready to do what's necessary to fight back against this? I want you to just pick up right there.
I am not hopeful, Ben, about their ability to abolish the filibuster, because they couldn't do it for voting rights. They can't seem to do it for the climate. They can't seem to do it for Build Back Better. But the good news is that we are seeing a lot of mobilization in the states to protect women. And so what we're seeing happen is this bizarre pattern of red states making abortion virtually inaccessible and blue states moving to become sanctuary states for people who need health care. And it's obviously better than nothing, but it is surreal to watch this happen in real time.
Yeah, especially when we have a political party that has all the power. They have the White House, they have the Senate, and they have the Congress. If they moved right now, they could protect women's rights. Let's talk about the action. Let's talk about the movement, the groundswell, act.tv. I know act.tv is going to be out in front of this with petitions and drives. Just, what can we do? Because I think what's happening right now, a lot of people feel helpless. And to be quite honest, those of us who have been watching this for some time and those of us who have seen this coming along the pipe, I understand that feeling, but we have to organize.
Absolutely. And, perhaps one way of looking at it is maybe this is a time for us to be less cynical than ever, because our individual actions matter more. When we're relying on each other and mutual aid networks to make sure that everybody in our communities can receive the care they need, that means it's our time to step up. We can't rest on cynicism. We can't rest on despair. And yes, we should absolutely be organizing and calling our senators, because it's absolutely better than nothing. They might do the right thing. Let's not put it past them. There is no social success in history that was statistically likely. So we do need to be pushing to end the filibuster, pushing the Senate to act. The House is already doing their part. And at the same time, being incredibly present with our communities, donating to local abortion clinics, because those are going to become the actors for justice in the years ahead. If Roe is struck down, which again, it's looking very likely that is what will happen.
So sorry, everybody. It seems like we're having a few technical.
Quite honestly, Steve.
technical difficulties with Ben. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us today, being on location. You know, whenever we're live, you never know what's bound to happen. But we just wanted to say thank you to you and our partners over at ACT for being with us today.
Thank you so much to all of you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.